Pre-orders for Analog 3D, a reimagining of the N64, opens next week. The console costs $250 with the controllers from the 8-bit Duo available separately for $40. So I seen this article and I thought it was pretty cool. I haven't actually read the article yet, so it'll be something we'll all go over together. But just the headline had grabbed my interest, and I'd seen that this is kind of a big news right now going around, and I think it's awesome. Personally, I'm not gonna be purchasing this myself because I do have my Nintendo 64, the original one I had from when I was like 5 years old. So there's really no need to get it. The only thing I would very much consider is because I did see right here that it does have the availability to have a plugin for HD TVs, modern HD TVs, because that is kind of one of the unfortunate things about it being such an old software and old technology, is the fact that in order to actually play on modern day TVs, flat screens and stuff like that, you do have to get an adapter, which is kind of the like a little bit unfortunate because a lot of TVs nowadays they don't have the little screw, like the cable screw that you use from back in the day, and a lot of them don't even have like the old school like plugins you would use, like the red, white, and yellow plugins to go through. So a little bit unfortunate, but at the same time, for anybody that wants to be able to play retro, retro style and do the old 64 games, you guys have something coming in the future, and I think that's really cool. I think that's really awesome. So let's go ahead and get into this. So, retro console manufacturer Analogue will open pre orders for its Nintendo 64 reimagining next week. Announced last October and launching this year, Analogue 3D is a Nintendo 64 like console that plugs into modern TVs and plays 64 games in 4K resolution, which is amazing. I mean, honestly, because it is one of those things I would like to maybe get into streaming on this channel eventually. And like I said, I have the adapter so that it will be able to play if I needed to, like I can stream as well. But it is something that if it can actually show them in 4K resolution, that might be something I might have to put into consideration, because if I stream and I'm able to do it with 4K resolution, it'll probably make it look a lot cleaner. And I have so many 64 games that I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't mind watching play. So let's go ahead and continue on. It's said to be compatible with every original 64 game ever made, accepts cartridges from all regions, and includes 4 original style controller ports. Available in black or white, the console is priced at $249 with controllers designed by 8-bit Do available separately for $39.99. Pre-orders will open on October 21st at 8 a.m. PDT. So Pacific PDT. I'm not sure what PDT is, but the one thing I do really appreciate as well is the fact that it is 8-bit Do. So I actually did a video, I believe like 2 or 3 weeks ago, on the fact that they did have a new product that they were able to come out with, so that you can actually turn your GameCube controllers, your wired ones, into wireless. So I haven't purchased it yet, especially because it's only $25, which is a great deal. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go ahead and do that because I do have a couple of old GameCube controllers just lying around. So I do want to see if I can actually turn them wireless and see if how it how I like it, how it is. So unfortunately, I can't really say just yet if 8-bit Do is worth purchasing themselves. But the fact that they're doing this whole thing where they're creating, modern technology to kind of go back to the older systems and everything like that, I love that. I love when companies do that. I really appreciate it, because it is one of those things as well. I do have an adapter for my 64 where you can plug your GameCube controller into it. So it's one of those things I can play 64 games on with a GameCube controller, and I love it. I love it so much. So we'll go ahead and continue on. Analog CEO Christopher Tabor has claimed that it will offer a better experience than the N64 emulator on Nintendo Switch Online service, which is I'm curious how Nintendo's gonna handle that, because I mean, at this point I don't think this is something that they can actually sue them for, but it is one of those things if they would try to do something as far as take some type of action against that, because at the end of the day, this is most likely gonna kind of hurt Nintendo's pocket a little bit. So let's continue on. The N64, originally dubbed Project Realty and then the Ultra 64, was released in Japan in June of 1996, before coming to North America in September 1996 and Europe in March of 1997. The console was notable as Nintendo's first proper foray into polygonal graphics, although its Super FX chip had led a handful of polygonal games on the SNES. So yeah, this was one of those things where it was a big deal that they went for the 64, because that was their change into 3D from 2D. And yeah, it was one of the consoles that it was like my first console, because I remember we had a Super Nintendo when I was growing up, but that was like the family's console. And I remember, yeah, I was able to get my dad was actually able to purchase the 64 for me, because it was one of those things at the time where it was like, oh no, this is the cool new game system. So he ended up getting it for me, and then I believe I got Diddy Kong Racing in the mail. So it was one of those things. Anytime like mail would come, because I was so young when that happened, I would always be like, "Oh my god, is there gonna be like a game in it? Is there gonna be a game that I'm gonna be able to get from the mail?" So that's just a fun memory of mine from back in the day. So let's go ahead and then we'll continue on. It's also remembered for being one of the first systems that included an analog controller and standard, and one of the first to include four controller ports, allowing for four-player multiplayer without the use of peripheral. So I like this too, the design that they had used for the new controller that they're gonna have, because it is one of those things you have kind of like the GameCube kind of analog joystick, because the original one for the 64 it was like a plastic one where it was like a hard plastic, while the GameCube kind of had the hard plastic as well, but the little rubbery kind of thumb Joy-Con that you could use. And then of course the D-pad. I love that they have the start button the same as the 64 controller. I think that's so cool. And then the similar with the C buttons, and then A and B. It looks very similar. So I love that. I like that they were able to still incorporate it so that it does have similarities to the 64, which is awesome. We worked closely with 8-Bit Do to design a wireless Bluetooth recreation of the original 64 controller with a modern form factor, said Analog. Crafted with an uncompromising attention to detail, the C buttons, D pads, AB buttons retain the original size, sub layouts, and feel, which is I love that. I love that so much. Featuring a superior quality Hall effect joystick with the original style N64 gate, says goodbye to the infamous loose joysticks and plagued original controller, and now you can even update your 8-bit Do 64 controller directly into an analog 3D simply by plugging it in. So this is awesome. I think this is really cool because, like they said, they have it so that if you want, you can have like kind of the wireless kind of form of it, or if you want to use your 64 controllers for anyone that still might have theirs, the availability is right there. So this is amazing. I love hearing this. I love this news. This is so cool to me, and I really hope that there's a lot of people out there that do support this and do end up going with this, because it is one of those things. I like I said many times, I'm a retro gamer and I love seeing retro games coming back. So this has me hyped. This has me really excited, and I'm really looking forward to this. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Will any of you guys be purchasing this? Do any of you guys still have like your old 64 games? If so, and yeah, if you guys could like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you guys have been watching this long, I really appreciate it. It means a lot. And yeah, until next time, Harmonic out. Peace.